And a very good morning. To think just a few days ago I was walking around in shorts and t-shirt and it was 70 Celsius. Now a few days later it's around about 0 or 1 Celsius and it's actually snowing. So this morning I'm going to take a walk over to a place called Wellbury. If you've already seen my short video of walking from Pirton to Pirton via Highdown, then in that video I did mention about diverting off towards a place called Wellbury, which is a nice little place to walk through and adds a couple of miles onto the walk over Highdown. So if you fancy a bit of a longer walk, it's definitely the one to take, and you get to experience Highdown as well. Anyway, we're just walking up the hill now from Pirton, and once we get through the gate just in the distance there, we'll be going up over onto Highdown. Well, you just absolutely have to love the English or British weather. As I say, a few days ago it was high 60s, about 70. Lovely, beautiful spring day. And it's still a lovely, beautiful spring day, except today it's very cold and it's actually snowing. Of course, it's not going to be much snow and it won't last very long. It never does here, really, but all the same, it adds a new dimension to it all. Anyway, the other day when I was talking about walking from Pirton to Pirton via Highdown, I'm now on Highdown, and that walk, once I just get to the top of the hill, continues on back in that direction towards the far right corner of the field, down the path, back down the lane, back into Pirton. And today I'm going to go towards the left-hand corner of the field, where there's a gate that takes you through, and we can walk towards Wellbury. Quite blessed this morning, really, that the weather's suddenly taken a little turn like this. I don't suppose it's going to last long, but a precious little snow really this year in winter in this part of Britain. So just to get a little bit today. Don't think I'll be having any snowball fights later on. So it's nice just to see a little bit here and there. See how it goes as we continue. Anyway, this now left the field of the top of Highdown, and go through the gate there, follow this path straight ahead. That sign's private. So straight ahead it is. Once you just walk along this bit along the tree line, which is quite sheltered this today. Feels quite a lot warmer than it did actually on the down itself. We just walk through to the Hitchin to Barton Road, which as always has traffic going very quickly, and it's not always easy to see the traffic coming, so you have to be quite alert and make sure you get across that road. It's a quick nip across the road where we carry on towards Wellbury. Right, okay, so once you've left High Down and walked down the path towards the Barton Road, you come up to this little area. Now, this time of year, it's not too bad, but once spring has set in properly and summer comes along, and this gets quite overgrown here with brambles and particularly nettles, so just bear that in mind if you're coming down here with your shorts on. You might need a stick to keep things out of the way. But it always remains passable, but it can get a bit of a scramble through all of that lot. Seems hard to believe when you look at it now, but that's how it is. Anyway, here's the bit where you do have to be slightly careful on this route, crossing the Barton to Hitchin, or Hitchin to Barton Road. Extension seems to have a lot of extensions, so that's absolutely just stop and head out to have a look. Great lorry came, followed by fast moving vehicles waiting behind it. There we go, accidental littering. Falling out of people's cars. Right, now we're over this side of the main road there. There are a couple of diversions you can take off here, but the best one is to just keep going in a straight line over the top of this hill and follow the almost defined pathway, which takes you through another gate in the opposite corner, and we'll walk down into Wellbury. High Down is just on the other side of that hill. Just down from there. This is probably about the highest point on the route. So it's not a particularly difficult walk. Over just gentle hills up and down. Now you can take a right turn through the woods and back to the little road that we'll come to later on, nearer to the Barton Road. That way takes you towards North Hertfordshire Common, which appeared in another of my videos. There's plenty of great footpaths to walk along around here. This is always a nice spot to sit and have a rest, have a drink or a snack. On a good day, read the signs. It's the 31st of March. This is slightly unusual, but not unheard of. Lovely little farm nestling down in the dip there. And we will continue across towards the gate over in the corner there. Right, here we are. Once again, it's another of those paths that go through private land, so obviously remember to respect that fact when you go through here. It's a fairly defined pathway now all the way back to the road, where we take a right turn and head back towards the Barton Road and up to Knocking Knoll and back down into Pirton. Not quite sure where the horses go to. I must bring them up to here. There's we're going to go past the stables here shortly. Now, I won't film anything around the stables for the simple reason that I don't think they really like people walking through, although you are permitted to do so. I can only assume it's they've had some bad experiences of people hanging around and doing things they shouldn't, and maybe worse than that, so I totally get their suspicion of people wandering around, certainly with cameras in their hand and taking pictures of their horses and stuff like that. That's a nice little pond just there. Again, you probably struggle to get over there in the summertime with all the nettles and so on. But there's a nice little walk through the woods here. And as the sign says, keep to the pathway. Almost looks like the middle of winter now with the snow that has actually managed to stay on the trees there. I'm sure once this snowy cloud has passed and the sun comes out, that'll soon disappear, so another moment in time we've captured on video. This is the 31st of March 2022, by the way, so we're well into spring, but it does feel more like about February or January temperature wise. Look at that, fantastic. Probably get the shorts and t-shirt back out again in a few days' time. Just walk down now towards the stables at Wellbury. Horses about this morning, been kept warm in the stables, I dare say. I do sometimes see them being taken out for a walk along here. A bit of exercise. It was a pretty quiet walk on the whole. And I think it's a quiet location as well, also makes it slightly vulnerable, I guess. Why? I will say you're not exactly welcome with open arms when you get through here, but as it's a public footpath right the way through their stables, and I don't suppose they can say too much, but as I say, if you keep walking and don't look like you're up to mischief, then there won't be any problems. This morning. Right, through the stables and just walking through this little path where we come back to a road. If you turn left, there's properly into Wellbury. Today I'm going to be turning right and up this road, back up towards the Barton Road, across the Barton Road again, and up to Knockinall, which I have mentioned on other videos. Signs back there do state don't take your bike down the way we've just come. The children cycle way comes from that way and carries on this way. I think people just wandering around in the countryside, particularly those that stray off the official paths, public footpaths and bridleways, etc., are a pain in the neck for farmers and landowners in general, particularly if they leave their rubbish behind or do some sort of damage. And of course there are those elements around that hang around in places like this for illegal reasons, theft and so on and so forth. In fact, I was walking past this field when you can see some pheasants, I think, over there. Can't quite see what they are from here. Pheasants do seem to like this field, particularly when it's got crops in it, and they seem to congregate in the little alleyways, I don't know what you'd call them, between rows of crops. And I took a picture once, and lo and behold, a farmer or farm worker came along, saw me doing it, and he pulls up in a rather grumpy fashion. "What are you doing here? What are you taking pictures of?" And stuff like that. And I'm on a public road here, so as far as I'm aware, I can take pictures of more or less what I want. But it just goes to show that, you know, through years of stuff happening and people coming and doing things they shouldn't, that sometimes, you know, people here understandably are looking out for those individuals that are up to no good. And I must have been taking a picture and look like I'm up to no good. Now, I tend to walk around in just fairly normal clothes, sports gear, nothing special. I don't really look like I'm about to walk up to the foothills of the Himalayas with all the latest gear, walking gear and sticks and this, that and the other. So I probably do look slightly more suspicious than someone that's on a more serious hike. So I kind of understand it, but it's a sad situation really when some locals tend to find that people that have come from towns and villages around just for a nice walk in the country and assume that they must be up to mischief or are going to do something that they shouldn't do. Thankfully those people are in a minority. This road we're coming to now leads us back to the Hitchin road, which we'll have to cross over. And probably the reason why locals get a bit suspicious is this road is frequently used for fly tipping. Another abhorrent act that really needs clamping down on. I don't know if we'll see any today, but I'll certainly be taking a picture of it if we do, and letting North Herts Council know about it. This is, I've always found this quite interesting. It's like an electric gate with traffic lights just down this little country lane. So presumably at one time you needed permission to go beyond this point. I don't know if you still need permission officially if it becomes a private road here. I guess that's what it actually is. It becomes a private road rather than a public road, but the gate doesn't work and looks like it hasn't done for quite a while. So you've even got an intercom there as well, or a pin pad to let yourself in. It's got a green light on it, so maybe it does work, but it doesn't look like it probably does. Anyway, that's always an interesting thing to come across down a country lane. So I can only assume we're now on a public road, and that was private, albeit with public footpath and cycleway access. Yeah, a few weeks ago when I was walking just ahead of where we are now, there was a massive great pile of builder's rubble just dumped there by somebody, presumably in the middle of the night. And really, you know, words, well, there aren't words either to describe people like that. and I don't suppose they'll ever watch this video, but if you do, you're bang out of order, guys. Dispose of it in the proper place, really. I hope you got a puncture. If you Google Route 45 and Route 34 on the internet, it will tell you precisely, but that's the pathway you'll come out of if you take the shortcut that I mentioned. Turn left towards Sawton Head Common, turn right through the woods, and you'll come to the road sooner. This is where you would come out. And likewise, you would take a right-hand turn, as we did earlier, back towards the Barton Road. Already all that snow, or well, a few flakes of snow that came down earlier is more or less melted and gone away. So there we go, whole half an hour of snowy England. Yeah, here's the area where a gigantic pile of builders' rubble and assorted junk got tipped onto the road a few weeks back now. There's still a few remnants here. Very sad the individuals that do this, but literally it came most of the way across the road. So they must have just pulled up in their little truck, dumped it, and legged it as quickly as possible. So you had to really go very tight to that hedge there to get around it. And it was like that for a couple of days, and then presumably the council came once it was reported to them, and well, let's just say they made an average effort to get rid of it. The road's completely passable now, but there's still a load of junk there, which really could have done better, I guess. Well done, Herts County Council. I hope I'm not blaming Herts County Council. It might be Bedfordshire here. I'm not entirely sure exactly where we are in relation to the border, the county borderline, because it weaves its way all the way around here, and you're never quite sure whether you're in one or the other. Oh, there we go, there's a bit more there. So that looks like possibly the same stuff, just been lobbed into the hedge. Here we are back at the Hitchin to Barton Road, and there we go. That explains the gate there. Vehicle access restricted, electric bollards, no turning points, and the ubiquitous. Can't even say it, my mouth's so cold. Ubiquitous rubbish that's accidentally fallen from people's cars into the side of the road, including a bottle of vodka there. Anyway, once again, be careful across this road. And back on the public footpath, public bridleway, cycleway and Icknield Way. 1¼ miles back to Pirton from here. That's it for today. We walk up to the top of this hill where we're at Knockingnog, take a right turn there, down Wood Lane, back into Pirton. That appeared on another video. Hunt it out if you're interested to have a look. Thanks for watching, see you again, bye.